Hello, church. Hope you're doing well. This is a special video update, and we have Hilary Van Wagenen because we're going to talk a little bit about ordination. We're excited about the fact that coming up on May 18th, our bishop will be in town that weekend, and one of the things he's going to be doing is ordaining Hilary to the diaconate. So very excited about that. Um, if you want more detail on ordination services and what they look like, all of it is in the Book of Common Prayer. So if you have a copy of that, you can get a lot of detail out of that. But we just thought it would be helpful to give just a brief review, primer, overview of how we think about ordination, because we know that some of you come from other churches and backgrounds where maybe the way we do things is less familiar to you. Um, so basically, in the Anglican Church, there are three ordained offices. We have bishops, we have priests, and we have deacons. And bishops tend to work on a diocesan or provincial level. That means they're over multiple churches. They work to preserve unity among the churches. They are guardians of the doctrine of the church. Priests are typically charged with the ministry that happens within a parish, within a church. And so within a single church, and their focus is on a ministry of word and table. So they tend to do most of the preaching, the teaching, the sacraments of baptism and the Eucharist. And then deacons actually have the broadest ministry of the three. There's a wide array of things that the deacons do, and I think sometimes, honestly, we can get a bit confused over like what's the difference between priests and deacons, or how do we describe the diaconal ministry. So Hilary, maybe this is a good question for you since you're about to become a deacon. How do you think about this?
Right. So, hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be on this update. And I just wanted to say that part of what is unique about the diaconal ministry is that deacons really function as a bridge between the church and the world. And so while all three ordained offices are working on behalf of the church and are coming out of the church, you see often deacons that are working out in a specific kind of ministry out in the world, and you see deacons that are serving within a single church or sometimes on behalf of a diocese. And so a deacon might be working in mercy ministry, caring for the poor. They might be evangelists. They might be working in discipleship. In some cases, they're preaching and teaching.
Sounds like you can have lots of different kinds of deacons doing lots of different kinds of things.
Right. Exactly.
Right? Yeah. And and one of the things that's unique about your role is that, as you said, you're full-time as a member of our team, right? And so one of the things that is going to be happening is that, as some of you may know, we've had this pastoral residency program at Church of the Advent, where we are training people for ministry, for full-time ministry. And so we had a resident a few years back, Kevin Antlitz, and then we had more recently Jeff Simpson, who is now finishing his residency and transitioned to join our team as an associate pastor. And so Hilary is our next resident. And so she's going to be ordained as a deacon, and she then serves on our staff as our full-time ministry resident, pastoral resident. And so she's going to be doing a variety of things, right? So she's going to be overseeing and coordinating our pastoral care. She's going to continue doing the good work that she's doing, directing our worship. What else can you tell us about your role moving forward?
Right. So I'm also going to be working to develop the prayer ministry.
Right.
I'm serving in that way. And yeah, I really see my role, and this, again, this is true of all ordained ministers in the ACNA, but specifically something that I feel so passionate about is equipping the saints, right? So being able to minister, a lot of times it's said that deacons are ministering from among the people. And so coming alongside and serving alongside all of you, helping, getting to know you, and helping to equip you, call out your gifting, saying to you, wow, I think that the Lord has given you this, and how can we develop it?
Right.
And encouraging you.
Yeah.
And we see that in the New Testament with a lot of different, and in the early church, these deacons serving in a variety of capacities this way.
Right. No, absolutely. And this is not something that we've just decided last week that you're going to do, right? There's been a whole process leading up to this. So could you share a little bit about what that was like?
Sure. So about 2 years ago, Tommy and I had a conversation where we both felt like the Lord was leading me to explore diaconal ministry. So Tommy wrote a letter to the bishop saying, I think this is something that our church needs to pursue, that Hilary needs to pursue. And that kicked off, it's been, like I said, about 2 years of discerning. So there are a lot of steps in that. I had a parish discernment committee made up with people at Church of the Advent who came around me. We had about 6 meetings where people asked me a variety of questions. I gave a devotional at each meeting. My husband, Tom, came to one of those meetings. And so these are people that are coming alongside of you and really listening to see not only is this your calling, but is this a calling that the church really sees in you?
Mm-hmm.
And so then I went through individual psychiatric testing. Tom and I did marital testing and worked with a counselor in that. I've been in communication with the bishop a variety of times, and then I had another discernment committee with clergy throughout our diocese, and they asked me some similar questions. And so again, what really rose to the surface for me was how much I love the liturgy and the sacraments and serving at Advent, which has been a home and a family for me and for my family for so many years, but also embedded in the larger Anglican communion. That was the place that I really felt like God was calling me to step into and minister out of. And so that's what has been the process for me. And again, I started to see one of the questions that they ask you in both the deanery and all the variety of discernment is, what is it that being ordained specifically allows you to do that you can't do as a layperson? Because in the Anglican Church,
a great question.
Yeah, and it is. And we do value lay leadership and ministry so highly. And so it's not that ordained ministers are somehow like you're leveling up spiritually or something if you get ordained. That's not the case at all. It's more that you're called in this specific capacity, in this specific way, to model and to lead and to speak on behalf of the church in this way. So, for a deacon, it actually comes from the word diakonos, which means one who serves. And so you're embodying and modeling and encouraging different ways of serving. So it's part of why deacons, it can be a little bit confusing because there's so many ways that deacons do that.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, fantastic explanation. I mean, it comes back to what you said earlier about that the purpose of setting aside a few people to be bishops, priests, deacons is to equip the saints for the work of ministry, right? So one of my favorite illustrations of that is the upside down pyramid, right? It's not a hierarchy. No. It's actually, you have bishops and priests and deacons who exist to serve the church. And it's the ministry of the saints that really advances the kingdom. And so really excited for you to take this step. It's been a long road, and it's been a lot of discernment and a lot of prayer, and we're so excited to celebrate it. So when and where, because I think everybody should be there. When we need to be there.
So Saturday, May 18th at 5 p.m. And we would love for everybody to come, and we're going to have a reception following. So there's a link to RSVP just so that Susan can help plan for food. And I would just, if I don't know you, I would love to meet you. So please email me. I'm going to put my email in this, email address in this email. And if I do know you, I would also love to hear from you. So I want to be in prayer for you. I want to be serving alongside you. And I'm just so grateful. And I feel like it's such a privilege to get to serve Advent in this way. So thank you.
Amen. Thanks for being on the RVU.
Yeah, anytime.
Spend some time praying for you all this morning. I pray that God blesses you. I pray that you have a wonderful weekend. We cannot wait to see you Sunday. See you later.
Bye.